Okay, good evening. We're up to Daf Vav Amin Aleph, the Mishnah. Bas Yisrael loy tiyaled esay vedes kechavim. A Jewish woman should not go ahead and deliver a baby, a goyish baby. And the Mishnah says the reason: mifnei shemiyaledes, mifnei shemiyaledes ben loy vedes kechavim. She's being another Oived Avodah Kechavim into the world. So you're being a ben, don't do it. Aval Oivedes Kechavim mialedes bas Yisrael, but Oivedes Kechavim, she could go ahead and deliver a bas Yisrael. She can go ahead and deliver a bas Yisrael. We'll see what that means in the Gemara. Rashi says doesn't say anything. Bas Yisrael loy tonik binoshel Oivedes Kechavim. A Jewish woman shouldn't be the nursemaid for a Goyish kid. But a Vedes Kechavim could in fact nurse a Jewish child with one parameter. It has to be Birishusa. It has to be what? In Rishus. Let's see Rashi in the Mishnah. Menika b'noshel Yisrael Birishusa. The Yisraelis in the Rishus of the Jewish. Avaloitim serenu loy licha bebesa. You don't let the Jewish woman, the Goyish woman, bring the child to the house. Shleita again shouldn't kill him. So, in other words, to ensure that the child will not go ahead and be killed, you have to do it in your rishus. Mashma from the Mishnah, there is no problem with the actual cholav of the goyita. It's a concern that she's going to go ahead and kill the child. Vis-a-vis the halacha of my cholas yisurais, that doesn't seem to be a problem. We will see Be'ez Hashem. We'll get into that. Tan Rabbana says the Gemara. Bas Yisrael loy tiyaled es avedes kechavim. Pnei shemiyat vedes ben avedes kechavim. The Bryce is exact same lesson of the Mishnah. By vedes kechavim loy tiyaled es Bas Yisrael. Mifnei shechashudim al shvichas damim. So now it adds something that the Mishnah did not say. You should not go ahead and give and deliver a Jewish child because we're chayish for murder. Divrei Reb Meir. These are the words of Reb Meir. In other words, if it's a Goyish midwife and is delivering a Jewish child, we're chayish that this Goyish midwife will kill the child. The Chacham say no. Avedes kechavim miyaledes es bas Yisrael when bisman shacheres lemedes al gabel. There's somebody else who's standing on top. Avaloi beino leveino, but not. If there's no one standing there, we should not allow it. But if there's someone standing there, we would allow it. If there's someone standing there, what we would allow it, says Rashi. I've read this Bas Yisrael. The Reb Meir says, and in other words, he says, carte blanche. Reb Meir says, a Goyish midwife cannot go ahead and deliver a Jewish child, even if there's someone else standing there. The Chacham say, if someone else is standing there, then you could go ahead and deliver the child. Even if someone is standing there, namiloi. Why? The zimna of the manchale yoda apusa. You'll go ahead and put the hand on top of I think this is called the fontanelle. I know what's called the fontanelle, the soft spot. And it'll kill the child, right? Because it's soft and no one will see it. It won't be recognizable that you killed the child. There was a case of a woman. She said to her what? She said to her friend, Molda Yudayasa Bas Molda Yudasa. Now this woman was a midwife, and she was a midwife of bringing Jews into the world. She says, you're the midwife who brought Jews into the world, the daughter of a midwife who brought Jews into the world. Disparagingly. She must have been an Arab. Nefishin bishta dahi isasa. Amrullah, the midwife said, Nefisha bishasa dahi isasa, the kamashpilna minayu dama ki ufya dinahara. Rashi, Nefisha bishta dahi isasa, kach v'kasrois yavo elecha, you're cursed. Such and such should happen to you. Kiminyan, the amount of kids, shehishpalti mehen, that I went ahead and I spilled their blood, right? And the Gemara says, "Ki ufyid in a like a raging river, like a river rages." That's how many I killed. So what do you see? That a Goyish midwife is chayish what for killing, And therefore Rabbi said you can't have it even if the other people there. So Amrullah, so what? The other person told her, Amrullah, so the Rabbanon Amilach, the Rabbanon say the Maisa is not like that. She just went ahead and she was accused of being Jewish babies into the world, so she just went ahead and said it's not true, but not that in fact about that she killed the babies, not the fact that she killed the babies. I'll tell you a Maisa. Okay, that's regarding being a midwife. What about the halacha about nursing? So we said that what? So the Mishnah said that a Bas Yisrael can't go ahead and nurse a Goyish child, but a Jew, a guy can nurse a Jewish child, provided it's Bershusa. Now the Mishnah did not bring in the Machlokes. The Gemara brings in the Machlokes. Tarabanan. Bas Yisrael loitonik bina shel avedes kechavim. Mifnei shemegadelas ben avedes kechavim. You're going to go ahead and bring you're going to be megadelas a child to avoid the Zorah. However, by avedes kechavim megayita loitinok es bina shel Bas Yisrael. Not like our Mishnah. Tina should not go ahead and the nurse a Jewish child. Mifnei shechashud al shvichas damim. So in other words, the reason has nothing to do with the actual nursing. It has to do with the fact that what? You're worried about murder. And therefore, you can't do it. The Chachamim Maimrim, Avedes Kechavim Meinika Espina Shel Bas Yisrael, Bizman She'acheres Emedes Al Gaba, right? Bizman that what? Acheres Emedes Al Gaba. In addition, Amishna said Birishusah. So the Taz brings down the halacha in Yeridea Simin Kuf Nun Dalid that you need two things to nurse. One, it has to be there's somebody standing there, and two, it has to be in the rishus of the Jew. And standing there is not dafka standing there, but yoitzav v'nichnis coming and going. Avaloi bein elevinot, not themselves. Reb Meir Omer afilu acheres emedes al gaba nami. Even if someone's standing over, you still have to worry about shvichas damim. Why? The zimnin the shaifula samad lidad me'avroi. Before she comes into the Jewish house, she'll smear on her dad, on her breast. She'll smear some amaves, some poison. And he'll go ahead and kill what? And kill the child. Now, so you told me the machlokes between Reb Meir and Rabbi Yehuda in two venues, and it's the same machlokes, right? By birthing, midwifing, birthing, and in addition, and what? And being a nursemaid. But Sricha, you need to tell me both cases. If you're telling me machlokes from Yaledes, behahi kamer abonon the shari. It's not possible that you have to worry about them killing. Mishum da'acheres royas oisa. Other people are watching and they'll see, so they're scared to do anything. Aval meinika the efshir the shaifel asam ledad me'avroi v'kot. But the case of nursing, where even if someone's standing there at the time, you still can't avoid the chashash that maybe they would have put poison on before they came into the house. I would say the moidavat to Reb Meir. V'yash me'inon me'nika v'ahi kom Reb Meir the asa mishum the shaifala sam ledad me'avroi v'kadalei, because again, there's nothing to worry about. Avo miyaledes the loy efshar, but miyaledes, it's not possible to do anything on the outside before. Where someone's standing there and you don't have to worry. That you don't have to worry, and you could birth a child. Tzricha to tell me that what? That not. Tzricha to tell me that what? Not. So it seems from this Gemara that it's okay for a Jewish woman, a Goyish woman, to go ahead and nurse a Jewish child. Now, if you look at Tosfos, Avedes Kechavim, go down. Tosfos, Kotzi Yerushalmi, towards the end of Tosfos. Okay? Yerushalmi, about before Tosfos ends, about 5-6 lines up. Yerushalmi, Avedes Kechavim meinika b'no shel Yisrael d'chsiv, v'hoyu malachim umanayich, v'sherusehem menikosayich, and the chief should be your nursemaids. Tani yoinik hatinoik, v'hoylech min ha'avedes Kechavim, u'mehem itameya, u'mevia lachalav mikol makom. They go ahead and nurse the child to bring challah from any place. You're not worried about shkotzim. You're not worried about what? Tumah. So it seems quoting this Taisus that it seems to be okay. Now, there is a Gemara in Kuf Yudalit and Yavamis, and that Gemara clearly states the only heta you have is sakana. So l'chayra you have a stira between the Tosefta quoted in Yavamis that the only time you're permitted is b'makam sakana, and our Mishnah. But the Gemara there says that stam tinoik eitzel chalav is a masukin. In other words, the child needs chalav all the time. But our Mishnah is speaking where there is a sakana. So if there's a sakana, that's when you can nurse the child. Shaloi b'makim sakana not. Now the question is then, what's the machloikis between Reb Meir and the Chachamim? If it's sakana, l'chayra, you have to be able to nurse the child. So I brought in Iran. The key in the hashta leka meinekes, the stam tinoik misukin eitzul chalav, sharvin leichal achris. Aval but the ikim meinekes Yisraelit. There's noise coming. Aval but the ikim meinekes Yisraelis chalav nachris asa. But if you would have a Jewish nursemaid, then the chalav, the nachas, would be asar. Would be asar. The chenira min Yerushalmi, the hacha, mishum sakana hu deshari. It's only because of sakana. Why? The gasina be Yerushalmi. This is the Yerushalmi that Taisus just quoted. Aval nachris meinekes bina shel Yisrael dechsiv vayimlachem amanayich b'shavasayim nekayich tani yoinik atinoik ben nachris umina behemet tameya. Alma had the hacha dumya dahita behemet tameyahi mishum sakana kedim hasam. In other words, the only time a child would be able to drink the milk of behemet tameya, a camel's milk or pig's milk, chalila, the only time would be makam sakana. So who adin in the same pasuk, the chalav of a gaita also would be makam sakana. Okay, so it's mashma, it's asa, it's mashma. Like this is Rabbeinu Chananel, and the way to overt the difference between our Gemara and the Gemara in Yevamis is it's speaking sakana. Aval Harashba Zal Kasav the Medina chalav anachris muta. The chalav of anachris is muta. The kivan the askina meperak afalpi. This is in Daf Samech fellas in Ksubis. The chalav mehalchish shnayim muta. The chalav of one who walks on 2 feet is muta, meaning who walks on 2 feet, a human being. So a gayata's chalav is muta. Minat hesa sheyei yaisa chalav nachris mechalva Yisraelis. Why would the chalav, the human milk of a gayata, be different than the chalav of a Yisraelis? Why would it be different? So therefore it's muta. So then what's the reason the Gemara, and so therefore guys, so our Mishnah makes sense. The reason you can't go ahead and nurse is you worry about shvichas damim. What about the Gemara in Yavamis that says only b'makam sakana? So on that, the Rashba explains. Okay. Ella lefi shememidas chasidis hu. It's a midas chasidis not to drink. You should not drink from a gayata. Why? Shalifi shetevon shel Yisrael rachmanim ubaishonim. Since Bnei Yisrael, we just had the Gemara, guys. We stood by Har Sinai, and by Har Sinai we got rid of the zuhama. We got rid of the shmutz that the chala, that the nachash placed in Chava. So we will, by our Sinai, we got rid of those midas. Remember, that's why you have the problem of znus of an animal by a Jew, but only by a guy. In addition, we're rachmanim by shanim because we got rid of the zuhama. Af chalavon megadol teva kiyotze behem. So therefore, the teva of the chalav of that particular person will go ahead and have the effect on that. They'll have in other words, so we who are by Shalom Rahman Agam Chasadim, they'll have that effect. they'll have that positive effect. And therefore, not that the din should be equal. So the Ritva says, guys, it's a guzma, just saying behemoth tameya, but not to make the comparison. The Rabbeinu Chananel made the comparison, just like behemoth tameya is asa, the chalav of nachris is asa. Says the Rashba, don't make that comparison. Only midas chasidus, that we shouldn't drink a baby should not nurse from the milk of a goyeta because it's going to bring about bad midas. And we all know this medrash. And Miriam tells Bisya, this daughter of Paro, I'll go get a Jewish nursemaid. Pirish, guys, Moshe, what did they do? Moshe nursed from all the what? Moshe nursed from all the gaitas, but he refused to nurse. Why? Because the mouth that would speak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu could not go ahead and nurse from a gaita. Memela, but you saw it's only because it was Moshe, but anybody else would be muta. So it's a riot that the chal of a gaita is muta. You hear, guys? The reason why Moshe, you had to get a Jewish meinekes is because Moshe refused to drink from that. And he refused to drink because the pet, the medaber in the Shechina, could not go ahead and do that. You hear this? It's a great raya. It's a great raya. Let's finish up. Why? Lefisha ichsirusa Moshe al kol mitzriyos lehenik isa upaslas kulan. V'lama paslan am HaKadosh Baruch Hu pesha asa l'dabri mi yonik devatame v'ayin dechsiv es mi yarideya. So in other words, we have big machloikis over here whether the milk of a nachris, whether it's muta or not. But the milk of it, according to what? According to the Rabbeinu Chananel, based upon the Gemara in Yevamis, it's asa. According to the Rashba, it's only asa al midas chasidus. But in fact, it's mutter in ganzen. In fact, it's mutter in ganzen. What's the midas chasidus? That the child should not be impacted by the chal. I'll tell you Maisa, guys. Maisa Shahaya. I was sitting, Maisa goes back 29 years. I'm sitting Shiva for my father, Alev Shalom, and a person shows up. I forgot who it was. I thought I knew who it was. I asked him today. He said, no, it wasn't him. And the person shared with me a Maisa with the Chidah. He says, the Chidah, an old woman came to him and said, I'm not going to be in this world much longer. There's no one to say Kaddish for me. I want you to say Kaddish for me, and I'll tell you why you should. Because when you were born, your mother was unable to nurse you. So she hired me as a nursemaid. And I'll tell you, even though I'm not a religious person, I was very careful. Before I nursed you, I never ate something that was tameh or treif. Nothing. You hear? You hear? So why did he tell this to me? Because the woman died, and the Chidah started saying Kaddish. 3 months in, the woman comes to the Chidah in a dream and says, you have no idea what your Kaddish does. Anytime you say Kaddish, it elevates the neshama more and more and more. The woman said, right now, I'm very happy with the people I'm with. If you're going to say it anymore, beyond that, it'll be too much. And therefore, what? But again, you see that she was makbet to eat. You see that midas chasidus that you are. I want you to know, my daughter-in-law is Rabbi Heinemann's granddaughter. Rabbi Heinemann held that the whole time you're pregnant, you shouldn't eat certain vegetables, gourds, cucumbers, things like that. That type of vegetable, and your child will never have colic or anything. And she did, and Baruch Hashem, can I know all 3 children never had any problems, any issues whatsoever. Very careful what you eat. Makes a big ration. So that's a wonderful Rashba over here. The Ran was quoting the Rashba over here to explain this whole inyan of whether the chalav is mutter. Now, this is all brought down the halacha. It's Siman Kufnan Dalid. It's very small Siman Yardei. It's brought down It's brought down the din about murder. It's brought down the din. Yet I found this Meiri that's, I don't know what, this is what the Meiri says. This is not the Meiri. Okay, you see Meiri now? You see something? Guys, you see something on the screen? You see anything? Yes? You see Hebrew letters. Good? Okay, this is the Meiri and Beis HaBechira. Harba re'inu shemis paloyim al shebizmanim elu. People wonder about these times. Ein adam nizer midvarim elu klal. People are not careful about having nursemaid, goyisha midwives and goyisha nursemaids. V'anu kvar ba'arnu ikka kavanas hasefer al eza uma hiseveves. What's it going on? Kimoshe ya'idu yimei edehen. Just like we speak about, testify about yimei edehen sheskarnu. Shem kulam leumois hakadomois. They're all people from the past. They weren't people who, they were pagans, they were Vilda people, they were not people who are derech hadas. Now they vehein adukois umasmidois ba'avodas elilim makechavim, and they were clinging and to the avodah Zorah. I don't know what this word is. V'hatal halishman. I don't know what that word is, but you get the idea in context. These ways of Avodah Zorah, we don't have such of the Avodah Zorah. Shekol elu chayetz bein ikar Avodah Zorah k'moshe spara. As I explained, this is all the ikar of Avodah Zorah. When we come makom le'inyan chashash issa Shabbos, when it comes to issa Shabbos, as we'll see, uchashash issa machalas umishtois, and when it comes to eating and drinking, kiyayin esech ustam yeinam ushari sur madoim le'elu. This is all is going to come later on. Everyone's equal to that. It doesn't make a difference whether the pagans or Heinz Goyim. All these things will make sense to you. You don't have to answer up all these things. In other words, you have to see what people are knowing now and what they were knowing then. So based upon the Meiri is doing away with this whole sugya. He's saying that we don't have to worry about midwives murdering babies, and we don't have to worry about what nursemaids murdering babies. We don't have to worry about that. Yet there's a whole siman Shulchan Aruch. I don't know he does, and okay, but you should be aware that there's Meiri. And now, okay, so I think Baruch Hashem, we have an understanding. We have an opinion that, according to one opinion, the cholav of a goyita is asa. According to another opinion, it's not asa als tarfis. It's asa als midas chasidus, because again, you don't want the impact of something affecting the child based upon what the mother ate. And now you have the Meiri saying that this chashad of Misa and the chashad of Meinekes is only for those previous kaidomais who were pagans, who were so attached to the Avodah Zarah, as opposed to our people, the goyim that we live with now. Okay, let's go back. Uriminu, I'll ask you a stira. Okay? Uriminu, and I'll go ahead, what? And I'll ask you a stira. You said that what? That you're worried that what? You're going to kill the child, right? And we said that a Jewish woman should not go ahead and deliver a Goyish child. Uriminu. Yehudis mi'aledes avedes kechavim b'schar. Our Mishnah didn't make a distinction. Mashma bischar, not bischar. There was no distinction, right? You can't go ahead and deliver a Goyish child. Yet over here we're saying that what bischar you could. That's the kasha from the Mishnah to the Brisa. Rabbi Yosef bischar shari mishemeva bischar. Then what? It's als eva. In other words, if it was bechinam, then the midwife can say, "I have to go now to deliver someone's baby. Who's going to pay me?" So a person would understand that. That won't cause hatred. On the other hand, if their money, they're willing to pay you the same way you get paid by a Jew, and you're not going to take it, that's going to cause Ava. And therefore, for this schar, it would be permitted. And this is brought down la'alacha. Sarah Yosef Lemeimar, Alude Avedes Kechavim, Bishabta, right? Going ahead and delivering a baby on Shabbos is what? Is Bischar, is Shari, is permitted. Mishum Eva. Amalei Abaya, said Abaya, right? Yachol Meimala, you know what? She's able to, if, in other words, if you can come up with a taich to say there's no Eva, it would work. So Yachol Meimala, the Jew can tell the Goyata, Di don de minatre Shabta, we who watch Shabbos, Mechal Alayu, we can Mechal Shabbos. Di don the Tchu, the loy minter Shabbata, loy Mechal Linen. We're not going to go ahead what? We're not going to go ahead and be Mechal Shabbos. So therefore, there's no Eva, because you could have a taina. So Abaye says to Rabbi Yosef, what kind of Eva? In a case of Shabbos, you can't be Mechal Shabbos for the Goyata. Why? Because they don't keep Shabbos. So that's not going to cause Eva. You can tell us something. Sav Rabbi Yosef Lemeimar, Anuke B'schar Shari, to go ahead, just like to deliver a baby B'schar, so to nurse B'schar would be permitted according to Reb Meir. Mishum Eva. Amalei Abaya, Yichalol Lemeimar, Ipenuyehi, if she's not married, but Linsube, I have to get married. And it seems that nursing, first of all, had a problem. She's not married. How can she lactate? Usually you only have milk when you're pregnant. It seems over here that again, a single girl. So she says that they bring down that it's going to age her and she wants to get married. Or and if she's an Eshes I don't want to go ahead and my husband may look upon me disparagingly if I go ahead and nurse. And so therefore, says Abaya to Rabbi Yosef, it should not cause Eva. It should not cause Eva. This is not a problem over there. Now there's a problem of Shabbos over here. If you look at the Tosfos, Sava Rav Yosef Lemeimar Aludi b'Shabbos b'Schar Shari. Tema l'Rav Yosef. The Salkadaitach the Shari. Ulabayi nami the Mishani deleka Eva mashmaha ika Eva Shari. In other words, they both don't have a Shabbos problem. The whole Shaila whether is an Eva problem, whether it's going to cause hatred. But al schil Shabbos, there's no problem. 1 second. So heichi sharinan mishum Eva milsa de ispe isura deraisa. How could, because of Eva, you be over in Isra Torah? Damina perik shmeina shratzim, hoishit yadoi lemei behema. A person's go ahead, stick their hands inside the animal, vidildel uber shemeha, and you pull the uber off the wall. Chayiv mishum oiker dava migiduloi. You chayiv be told of the guys. Guys, helping a person give birth, and helping an animal give birth is asada raisa. It's considered cutting. What are you cutting? You're cutting something that is being attached to its source. You cut wheat from the ground. You cut a baby from what? From the wall of the mother. So l'chayra freg taisus akasha. How in the world, b'shem eva, would you permit to be over in nisa deraisa? Because delivering a child, l'chayra is nisa deraisa. Azay freg taisus. And for taisus, yesh leimar the hacha b'yosheves ala mishpar. Let's say. So speaking where the woman is well on to giving the birth process, literally she's sitting on the birthing stones, and therefore the baby is already disattached from the wall. Memela, there's no Isidaraisa, Memela, Mishum Eva, you should be able to do it. That's one teretz. Inami, Kivin, the Kalulu Chadoshav, Pasku Gidulov, since the child is 9 months old, it's not growing anymore. So even if it's attached, it's not considered growing. It's like tefua that's ready to be cut, right? We view it as cut. Who had in the baby, that's what. Okay, so therefore, it's not a Shabbos problem either for one or two reasons. Either it's speaking where she's well along, or because the baby is fully formed. Okay, now we're going to bring in the same achloikis we had between Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Meir and Abaya in a conversation by Meinekes and Yoledes. We're going to have it by another case. Says the Gemara. Savar Rabbi Yosef lemeimar haditanya. That we have a brisa. Ha'oibit kechavim v'roya behema daka. An oibit kechavim and a roya behema daka. Now we said a roya behema daka is a goslin because he can go ahead and go in other people's fields. Haditanya. Ha'oibit kechavim roya behema daka. Loy mailin v'loy moiridin. In other words, if they fall into a ditch, you don't have to bring them up to save them. However, v'loy moiridin, but you wouldn't go ahead and put them down in the ditch. Asuke b'schar shari, right? Asuke b'schar shari. Rabbi Yosef said that what? That if he's giving you money, right, taking him out would be permitted. Mishemeva. Amalei Abaya yachaloi maloi koi bria igra. Right, my son is by the. I can't stay here and bring you up. I got to save my son who's standing by. He's going to jump off the roof. Hinami Nikita lezimna lebeidayar. I have to go to the sultan. I have an appointment by the sultan. In other words, I can go ahead and Abaya says I have an excuse why it wouldn't be Ava. It's again. What's the rule of thumb? As long as there is an excuse, you don't have Ava. So Rabbi Yosef says for schar you bring him up, and he says no, even for schar not. Tani Rabbi Vo kamed Rabbi Yochanan. You don't bring them, right? You don't bring them up on the base. But you don't bring them down. You don't bring them down. But minim, those people, Rashi says the priest of Avodah Zorah, right? Whether it's a Jew or a guy, those people give over people to the they give over the money of other people, Jews, to the government. And those people who rebel against Hashem by not doing mitzvahs. You go ahead and be married v'lei mailin. Now, we'll get to this in a second. I just had fascinating written the side of my Gemara on the Tosfos v'lei mailin. It says that we just said you don't bring them down. You don't. Says Rashi Tosfos the best of the Canaanim get killed. That's speaking about b'shas milchama. Okay, so that you kill a guy is b'shas milchama, but if it's not b'shas milchama, and I had written up my Gemara, Rabbi Moshe Maruch, again he was an Alta Mira, came to the share, and he said a story. What one of the Lubavitcher Rebbe's was the Tzemach Tzedek. The Tzemach Tzedek, one of the Lubavitcher Rebbe's, and a guy confronted him. And it was going to kill him based upon this chazal. Kosher shebeknanim harug. Right? So meaning, you're going to kill me, I'm going to kill you. Said it Tzemach Tzedek, I have a different gersa in the Gemara. My gersa is kosher shebeknanim kotal, not harig, by kotal. You know what kotal is? Katule. That's Catholic. Hebrew for Catholic. So he read it, kosher shebeknanim ketule. Who's the kosher shebeknanim? Is the Catholic. And he let him go. Such the charifus of the Tzemach Tzedek. We, of course, know what does kotel mean. It's Aramaic for what? Gavra ketila kotel. You killed a dead man. But the charifus of what of the Tzemach Tzedek, he wrote ketule. What is lashon what of a Catholic? So kosher shebeknanim ketule. So fascinating. Okay. Now going back to this, you permitted to go ahead and put a Messiah, a mumma, you put him down, you don't bring him up. So Amalei, so Rabbi Yochanan told Rabbi Vo, this is Rabbi Vo. So Rabbi Yochanan said to Rabbi Vo, Ani Shaina, l'chol avelis achicha, right? The Rabbi says hamumar. When it says achicha, it means that you return an object to a mumma. Yeah, Amid hoyim aridim, and you're saying you go ahead, you return his lost object. Certainly you should return his neshama, right? What do you mean you can let him go into the pit? So Sami Mikan Mumma. So Rabbi Avo said, okay, we'll delete the word Mumma from there. We'll delete the word Mumma from there. Because obviously, if you could return his Aveda, you can return his life and not put him down in the pit. Fred Gemara Lishanile, one Rabbi Avo asked, tell to Rabbi Yochanan, Lishanile, let Rabbi Avo answer Rabbi Yochanan, Kan b'mumma oichlin avelis l'teyavin, Kan b'mumma oichlin avelis l'hachas. There's a different reason, guys. A guy can eat McDonald's for one or two reasons. He can eat McDonald's because he has his taiva for a cheeseburger, or he can eat McDonald's because he wants to get Hashem angry. If you're eating l'teyavin, you're not rebelling against Hashem. You have a taiva. If you're going ahead and eating to anger Hashem, okay. So maybe when it says a mummer that you return as lost object, that's a mummer she'oichel nevelis. And when it says moiridin, you bring down, that will be a mummer what lahachis. So why did Rav Avo opt to go ahead and edit out the word from the Brisa mummer? He had a teretz. There's a chilik between different mumarim, the mummer lahachis and the mummer teyavin. So why didn't he give that teretz? Why didn't he give that teretz? And for the Gemara, I'll tell you why. Because ksabar oichel nevelis lahachis minhu. If you're oichel nevelis lahachis, you're a min. So guys, look at the top line of the Gemara. Aval haminim v'hamasoros v'hamumarim. And who are the mumarim? Those people who are mumel lahachis. That's what it would say. But one second. If a mumel lahachis is a min, you just said min, right? It's the first statement. Aval haminim v'hamasoros. So in Mela, you can't go ahead and say mummer is what? Is speaking lahachis. Because he holds mumel lahachis is a min. So if he's a min, you already said min, and therefore you had to delete it. That's the Gemara's teretz. Itmar. Mumar pligi Rav Acha v'Ravina. Chadam l'te'avon. Mumar lahachis min hu. V'chadamar afilu lahachis nami mumar. Okay, so we have a machloikas. What is a mumar lahachis? So one said l'te'avon mumar. If it's l'te'avon, he has a din of a mumar. If it's lahachis, he's a min. My nafkamina, fellas. Look at Rashi. Minhu. V'atani le'reisha minim bekama dvarim. Metzinu chilik bein min lemumar. Kigain sefer Torah shekasu min yisaref udahacha. And the chilik over here, whether you would go ahead and return this lost object. So again, the min what is you burn his Torah, the mumar not. The min you burn his Torah, the mumar not. So now we have a machloikis. Is a mummer. When it says the word mummer, what does it mean? One says it means l'teyavin is a mummer, but lahachas minhu. The chadamar afil lahachas nami mummer. Ela ezeu min zeu even alilim koichavim. So in other words, there's a mummer. When it says the word mummer, it means both lahachas and l'teyavin. According to the other one, it means l'teyavin. Now, according to one, it means l'teyavin. So therefore, lahachas is a min. So according to one who says that it's both, that mumma means it connotates both lahachas and l'teyavin. So what does it mean? It means what? It means Avodah Zorah. Meisivei achol parosh echad ayitosh echad. If someone ate some type of bug, harizeh mumma. He's what is a mumma? Now v'hachol lahachasu. Certainly, if he's eating a bug, it's not because of an appetite, right? And therefore, and we're calling him what? We're calling him a mumma. We're not calling him a min. We're not calling him a min. Katani mumma. So it's fair to the one who says that mumma is a what? Is a. You said that what? You said that this is definitely lahachis, and you see it's called a mumma, not a min. It's a raya that says mumma is both. Guys, again. We don't know who, between Rav Acha and Ravina, who said what. One of them said that both are mumarim, and one said only the teyavin. We have a brisa that says that if you eat a parosh or some type of bug, you're called a mumar. Now, pashtus, the eating the bug is to go ahead and get back at Hashem. Yet you're called a mumar. Kasha on the one that almost says that what? That it's a min, that a mumar is a min. That's the Gemara's kasha. So the answer is, Hasam boy limitim taimadi surah. Not he's talking not lahachis, right? He's eating it. He wants it. He wants to go ahead and taste the visa, but not to anger Hashem. He's doing it what? To taste the visa. You never get to eat these things. Like again, I told you, say Moshe in Thailand. They brought him fried tarantula and fried chay scorpion, and he said, not in this Gilgal, but he said, that they eat it. Okay. By the way, I told you what. The reason why the Gemara says that the goyim have a higher temperature is because they each got some ramasham. And this guy was eating this tarantula, he got hot. Amamar, going back over to Brisa. It says you bring him down and not bring him up. Now that would be to be counterintuitive, guys. If you can bring him down, of course you don't bring him up. In other words, you can put him in the pit, you don't save him, right? If you can kill him, you don't save him. Hashta chute machtinan. You're telling me that you lower into the pit. Asukimi boy, you have to tell me that you don't bring him up. So Rav Yosef Bar Chama, Rav Sheshes, Leinitzricha. What do you need it for? Shem hoisa ma'ala bebar. If let's say in the bar there was like you had a really low part, and then there was a higher elevation in the pit that he could possibly go up and climb up to. So the halacha is migarara. You're able to scrape away that higher placement in order to make it lower. The naka le'ilah that if someone sees you doing it, you're saying they don't notice the guy in the pit. You say the reason I'm doing it because I don't want my animal going into the pit. Rabbi Rav Yosef Damar Shavayu, Leinitzrucha, another teretz. Again, what's the kasha? It says, my reading, you bring him down. Of course, it's redundant to say you don't bring him up. Shem hoisa evan al pia be'er. If there was an evan on top of the pit, right? You're able to cover the pit with it, even though the guy's in the pit. I need to go ahead, and my animals should walk over it. And you know what? And when they pass by, I'll take it off. Ravina Amar, Shemhaya Sulam, if there was in the pit, there was a sulam, there was a ladder in the pit, right? Amar, I need the ladder to go ahead, and why am I, guys wondering why you're taking it out of the pit? You can't tell him you're taking it out of the pit because you don't want the guy coming up. You say you're taking it out of the pit because you want to go ahead, and get your son off a roof. Okay. Tanan Rabbanan. Yisrael mol es kechavim l'shum ger. A Yisrael is able to go ahead and mal an oiv kechavim l'shum geris. La fuke l'shum murna. La fuke, if this guy has on his orla, on the foreskin, he has some type of disease, right? Deloy. He's not able to do that. Oiv kechavim lo yimel Yisrael, and oiv kechavim should not mala yid. Mifnei shechashudim al shvichas damim. Because you're chayish al shvichas damim div Rav Meir. Rav Meir is consistent, fellas, right? Rav Meir was chayish what? By the nurse, the nursemaid. It was chayiv by the doula, by the midwife. He's chayish. He's chayish div Rav Meir. It's consistent, guys. Rav Meir is always chayish lamiyuta. Rav Meir is always chayish even for the smallest thing, right? The chachamim moimrim oibit kechavim molas Yisrael. And oiv kechavim could mali Yisrael. Bisman shecher moim al gabav. When other people are looking on top of it, the chacham say, as long as it's oim al gabav, you don't have to worry about killing the baby. But in private, not. Rav Meir, what's Rav Meir's svara? Afilu acher moim al gabav. Even someone standing over it, you worry. Dilma de matzle sakina. He'll go ahead and matzle. Rashi says he'll go ahead and incline the knife. Umashvile krushavcha. And I'll make the child into a krushavka, and a krushavka can't have children, is not allowed into the Kal Hashem. Okay? Okay, the Gemara now goes. I think we should wait for tomorrow. We'll go over this tomorrow, and the Gemara goes off because it extends into the Yom. I failed to say over. I just remembered. I listened to Yisrael Bornstein today, and he said exactly what I said. Because he brought in the Rash, he brought in the Ritva. I brought in the Rashba and the Ran. It's the same Torah, but he said something fascinating. He said, "Why is the reason Moshe could not speak well?" So we're all familiar with the Medrash that Moshe had taken Paro's crown and threw it down, and Paro was choshid that what he's going to want the kingdom. So what did he do? He took stones, diamonds, and he took coals, and he made a bechina. So Moshe was going to go to the diamonds, and the Malach came, took his hand. Moshe picked up that and put it in his mouth. And as a result, Moshe burnt his lips and burnt his tongue, and he was covered peh. Question is, why didn't it burn his hand? If you pick up a coal, your hand's going to get burned before your mouth's going to get burned, right? So this is beautiful. He brought from the Shachal Torah, the Sefer, the Shachal Torah. It's not the Shachal Chumash on Yeridea. It's the Shachal Torah. He says, Gewaltig. He says, when Moshe was going from nursemaid to nursemaid, it was not possible that he wouldn't get a little milk in his mouth from the dad of the nursemaid, of the Goyish nursemaid. And since he had to go ahead and speak to the Rebbeinu Shalom, so he had to go ahead and cleanse whatever tumah had come from that nursing, those little short nursing. That's why he burned his mouth. Fascinating.